Hello, four-star diamonds. Super, super excited for this call today. Like I said, we've been holding off 2 weeks to hear Heather speak about setting a passionate culture for your team. So Heather lives in Washington. She's been a coach for 5 years now. She has built an extremely strong foundation. And Heather, I can't wait to hear your story and really how you have become so successful, because you, just like that, you have been a coach for quite some time and you have built a good, amazing foundation, but more importantly, a very passionate team within your culture, or a culture full of passion, question mark. Right, that works. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and turn over the time to Heather. I would love to hear what you have to say.
Sure. And I think starting with my story is actually a really good place to start, because then we kind of understand, at least as I was thinking about culture, I realized that my story built into my culture that I made with my team. I actually signed up as a coach because my sponsor came to me from Chalene Johnson's page and said, hey, did you know you could do this? And I signed up with her. I didn't really know much about any of it. And I thought, hey, I can make a little money, but really I wanted to pay it forward because programs had helped me so much. Well, my job no longer existed. I was an accountant and the company filed for bankruptcy. And then we found out the CEO was running a Ponzi scheme. So big, bad, awful thing. And as an accountant in the company, even though I had no idea that was going on, I obviously felt betrayed by it. And I actually lived in New Mexico at the time, the whole state knew about it and I could not get a job because they knew I had worked at that company. And so I was completely burned by my first job out of college. That's what my degree was in, and really kind of nowhere to turn. So thank goodness I had this on the back burner because I had nowhere else to go. So with all that being said, I needed this. I needed this job or this business, and I needed it to work for me fast. So when I signed up, there was not training like there is today, for sure. There was like, hey, here's the policy and procedures manual, have fun. And I'm really a technical person, so for me that was kind of okay. So I actually scoured the policy and procedures manual to figure out the best way to make the most money the fastest. And for me, that was building volume on my team. That was not about rank advancement, which is why 5 years later I sit with 6 diamonds in one leg and 1 in the other. And to me that doesn't matter, because for me it was all about trying to survive. So my sponsor coach really doesn't do much. And for me, I'm self-motivated, so fine, that's okay. Nobody really noticed me until I hit diamond. So that kind of left me to figure things out on my own, creating systems, finding my own way through things. And I feel in some ways that made me stronger as a coach. But the one thing that I knew was that I did not want my coaches to have to go through that. I did not want them to have to feel alone, to figure out systems on their own, or to even, I created a team page when I had 1 coach under me because I didn't have a system. I didn't have a support system. So I thought, you know what, if I can make this out of just 1 other person. I mean, I always laugh with her. She's still a coach of mine today. I say, remember when we only had 2 of us in our group? Because that's what it was. So I didn't know it at the time, but I was already building a culture because I wanted my coaches to feel included and to have a place to go. So without even knowing that that's what that was, I had built it. Oh, cute baby. So I actually first thought about culture last year, the actual word culture. I was actually sitting at an Eric Worre event. He does this 6-figure summit every year. And I sat there and he talked about culture. And he's talking about all these different things that culture means and what we could do in our groups to create culture. And I panicked because I'd never thought about it before. And I was like, oh my gosh, I turned to the person next to me and I'm like, my team has no culture. Like I freaked out. I was like, oh my gosh. And so I sat there and I'm thinking about all the people on my team. And I was like, I have this ragtag group of people on my team. They're not the same. I don't understand. I failed creating culture. So I took all these notes and I started actually calming down, because when I looked back, I realized that those ragtag group of people were there for a reason, because I had created a place where everybody felt involved, where everybody felt included, where they all had a place to go, And that was what we had in common already. They were all different, but they all belonged. So I realized that I built this without even realizing it. So what was cool about that was that from there, I could actually build upon it because I knew that they already had a foundation of culture. So what I realized is that coaches really enjoy knowing what to expect, and they really love being a part of something. And those are two things that I really created culture-wise. So when you start a new coach, you have to know, and you guys all remember, that it's such a new concept to be in this business. It's not like going to a job, checking, clocking in, clocking out, having somebody look over your shoulder. Or, I know when I was an accountant, nobody ever said to me, hey, great job. But they always said, that was awful, right? They always said, you didn't do that right. So, all of these things I was pulling from my job helped me create a culture for my team, because I knew that there were things I liked and there were things I really didn't like. And all of that I wanted to incorporate. And those are the little seeds I had been placing all along and honestly not realizing it. So in the past years when I've really been able to sit and kind of build upon having this culture, it can be tough to find motivation within ourselves as a new coach, especially because unless you're super naturally motivated, it can be a really tough thing. So having a team culture really provides, I think, identity, security, and kind of safety that coaches look for when they start. Because that's what, for me, that's what I actually found in this. Even though people think that this business is totally off the wall, no security, right? Like just a random thing we do, and sure, it can make some money, but maybe it won't. And it seems scary, but for me, it was security because it was where I had to turn. So maybe having that mindset really helped me create that for my team too. But here's the best part, at least for me. Beachbody gets to deal with the online office, the commissions, the inventory, all that stuff that we don't have to do, thank goodness. That leaves us completely 100% free to create a passionate culture, right? Because that's what we get to focus on instead of having to worry about the logistics of, I've got to stock my garage with all this stuff and then try to unload it. And I have to worry about paying people out this money, right? We don't have to do that. So we get to create what I call like a microcosm of Beachbody in our own team. And that creates something that people can be proud of and they can feel involved in. And I know I'm talking a lot about what a culture is, but I promise I'm going to get to like action steps in a minute. But it's important to kind of get this whole background down too, I think, because you get to decide what the culture means for your team. That's really up to you. And what's cool is when you own your own business, then that kind of trickles down. And as your team, becomes leaders and they create their own team, they're going to create their own culture, but it's always has a little bit of you and your culture in it too. So that's what kind of ties your team all the way down the line together. So it's kind of like a culture is, what is your team known for? And what do you want to have at the core of your team? What do they focus on? What are those things that really mean something to you? That's where you start. What's important to you? What made you want to be in this business? Like I said, for me, it was security. For me, it was, making a place where my coaches felt like they were included, where they didn't have to create a system for themselves, where, even when it was me and one other coach, I knew that we were a team. That's what I wanted. So that was something to me that was so important. So you kind of have to figure out what those things are for you, and then how can you give your team the most value within those. Then the next step of that is to think about what has to happen for your team to be known for that, right? So I wanted to give you some ideas on things you can think about for culture, because everybody's going to be different and every team is going to be different, and there's no really right or wrong here. So obviously, what I've created in my team is going to be completely different from yours, and that's totally fine. So a couple things, and this is a list, so I'm sorry, I know that's kind of boring, but I think it's good. Fast rank advancements, being around forever, edification and never being negative about products, uplines, or Beachbody in general, being known for events, like making sure all your coaches are at Super Saturday, at every Vital Behaviors training, at every summit, and then having more local training, so just big events, being known for recognition, being known for fun, being known for inclusion, that was something that was important for me. Being known for having a really strong mission or a purpose. Being known for personal growth. How far have you changed and grown on your journey? Being known for integrity. So those are some things that I thought were really important to think about when you're looking at culture. So for action steps, here's what you do. You pick 5 things that are really important to you. Just 5, and I'm going to narrow it down further, which is actually where it gets hard, because I remember sitting there and thinking, okay, what is my team going to be known for? And I already had a couple, and then I started writing down a billion, and I was like, this is too much. How can I ever focus on these things, right? So I actually think write down 5, and then narrow it down to 3. Now, when you get to 3, really focus on those 3, and then you can always add the other 2 back in if they are really important to you. But I promise you, having 3 to really focus on is going to be plenty. So again, something that helped me was thinking about what had drawn me to this business. So I really think that, your top 3 should be, why did you start this business? And you can go from there. And you guys obviously have established teams at this point with, being 4-star, but I think you can still go back and kind of work with this and make your team even stronger through this. So then you have to hammer it home, right? You've got those 3 things, and you have to kind of sprinkle it into everything, because it takes a while to take hold of culture. It really does. It's a long game, right? It's not going to be short term. It could take a year or more to really get culture in place. 2 years, and you probably have something really great. But after a while, you'll start to see it take hold, and when it does, you'll know. Because it'll happen without you being there, right? Things will start going, and you won't be doing, initiating it, but it'll be happening. So how do you make it real? A lot of things. Repetition. And that's the thing, right? I know we always are telling our coaches the same thing over and over, it feels like, right? And then, what cracks me up about coaches too is that I'll tell them something, and then I'll show them a video, and they say the exact same thing. They're like, oh, I get it now, right? That's what it's about with culture. It's the same kind of thing where you've got that repetition. Incentives, right? And I'll talk about really specific examples to my team too. Challenges, right? Some teams really rise to the occasion. When we have a team cup or a fall classic, mine do. So extra challenges always help. Recognition, when someone's really got good culture, something following that you do as well, that recognition is important. Consistency, right? So if those 3 things are going to be part of your culture, not giving up on those 3 things, right? Making sure that you are still always hammering them home. Making it an expectation. So when, you set something that's important to your culture, make it an expectation instead of well, if you want to do this, right? Make it so that people know this is what you do. Accountability check-ins, so if it's something, and I have good examples too, but just saying, hey, are you doing this, right? Making sure that at every point you're kind of doing these check-ins to make sure your culture is still being passed along. So I call these a culture campaign. So while you're going through this and you're really working towards making this part of your team, setting out maybe specific time periods where you're really working on just one piece, and maybe another piece and another piece to really hammer it home. So here's a couple that I do in mind. So making Success Club is one of the things that I find really important for many reasons, obviously. But in my team, that is something I celebrate with everything I've got. So there's a couple things I do. One thing, I call it the power of 3. And it's basically I don't know if you want to call it a campaign, but it's called the power of 3 because 3 people, you help 3 people, you make Success Club, right? That makes it so simple. So what I do is I actually have a little graphic, and it has 3 little people on it. And every time they help their 3 people, they post it in the team page. We all, yay! And that makes them feel really good because they've started to work on Success Club, right? So if you are not posting that picture, you feel it because you want to be that person who's sharing hey, I did it. And basically it's just a picture of 3 people. It says, I helped my 3, power of 3. Something so simple as that. So I do that. We also have Success Club shout outs every month, and I actually just posted it yesterday, but I actually do pictures of the top earners on the Success Club graphic. I post it on my wall, I tag them, and we use how many people we helped. So we don't say, oh, we had this many people make Success Club 10. I say, okay, we helped 194 people last month. I think that's more powerful and people understand that more. I do weekly team emails with Success Club point earners. And I also do those with 4 points, like as being almost there. I do 3 to 4 points and say, hey, they're almost there, because the next week they actually really want to be in the full Success Club. So it's another way to kind of say, hey, we're almost there. The top 3 point earners get a handwritten card from me saying, hey, you did great. And they actually look forward to it. Like I had somebody say, oh, I was so excited because I knew I was going to get a card from you. It doesn't take me long, but it means so much to them. I realized that I'd started taking hold of Success Club culture in my team when I had 1 week not updated the Success Club points in our email, my weekly team email to them. I got a message saying, hey, I should be off the almost there list because I have 6 points now. And so I thought, okay, this is actually starting to take hold. It took a while, but when it did, then people were like, yeah, that's it, right? That's what I want to be a part of. That's Success Club. So that's one of the ones that really worked well for me was making, Success Club something so important. And I've seen a big growth in my team making Success Club because of it. And all of it just comes back to culture and making your team known for something takes a while to take hold. Yes. And it takes consistency, right? Every month I make that graphic. Well, my husband does, but every month we make that graphic. Every week we send that email, right? Every time I write the cards. But that's what does it, right? It's that repetition and consistency. And none of that takes very long in the long run, but that's what it takes, and you already have a base right now to build from. I know you do because you are successful coaches. So that's what you get to do is take that and then build upon it. You might have some things in mind already that you're like, yes, my team does this really well, or my team does that really well. And you can take that and just really build upon it. And that's what I love about having a team like that, is that it's the best parts of your team is the culture of it, right? And it benefits the whole team, and then it gets passed down, right? And then it's funny because you'll start to see some of your team build their own teams, and you'll see your culture within their team as well. And I think that's really cool to watch, because it's like, somewhat, I don't have kids, but I imagine it's kind of like having kids where you watch them kind of grow up and you see that they're, embracing some of the things that you do. But the main thing about culture is that coaches know what to expect, right? They know what to expect, so there's no guesswork, because people like to be told what to do. They like to be told, hey, these are the things that are so important. If you just do these, then you're going to be great. So they become more engaged. They become more passionate, right? They have a natural drive to do things because they want to be a part of the team. That's the thing about this business, is you're a part of a team. And when you can really work on that together, then you'll see coaches come alive, because, like I said, getting that email back, hey, I should be off that list, that to me meant, hey, I've figured this out. I've got this part of culture down for my team. So that's culture. It's such a fun, I actually think it's one of the most fun things, because when we go to Success or Summit, I get to, see all these coaches, and events are important. Summit's always important. So, I have a ton of, I think we had 60 of my coaches go to Summit this past year. So, to me, that's incredible. We all got to get together, and to me, that's culture. And I felt like I had finally, created something that meant something to them. And what was cool was, looking last year, about a year ago, sitting there thinking, I have no culture. My team, they're nothing, right? They're just this random group of people. And I realized that they weren't. They were all there for a reason, and I brought them all in. So that's culture. That's pretty much it. Run down fast. And
wow.
Can I go ahead and answer that question?
Yeah, look at my notes. Girl, I'm sure all you coaches were like, because that was amazing.
Oh my gosh, good. I'm so glad.
Yes. Go ahead and go to the chat. It looks like.
Okay, yeah, Sharon. I do my whole downline. I do. I think that's important. Something that was also important for me in my team was to make sure that they knew I was also there for them. I know that people slip through the cracks sometimes, and I'm kind of one of them. So I didn't want anybody to feel that way. So I recognize the whole shebang.
Even when you said that you help 194 people, that your team helped, like that was, I even saw Vicky's face, it was like, whoa, because that is so impactful. You know?
I'm sorry. I recently started doing like, I've helped, like I do Success Club shout outs, but instead of like, oh, so-and-so made Success Club 6 or so-and-so made this, what I started doing is, I think I got it from Alexa, is how she takes the photos of the actual challengers and she'll connect them with the photo of the coach. And so I'm like, you know, Cindy helped 3 people change or get started to their lives for health and fitness. But I really liked how you combined all the coaches and combined the amount of people that they're actually, I love that.
It looks huge. And you know, it's funny because we always get a ton of likes and comments and shares on it, and it's not all my coaches, you know, it's random people who are watching. And I think, to me, that's so cool, because even if they never sign up as a coach or never do anything, they're watching. And I think that's so cool. That's my favorite time of the month, is to get to share that and see that. So it's really cool.
I love that.
So awesome. What other questions do you coaches have?
I do have a question for you, Heather, and maybe anyone else can help this. And if this is an easy question, I'm sorry that I do not know. So I have tried to look for, like, I do a Success Club doc in my team page, and it's my entire downline. But a lot of people either don't know about it or they forget to put their stuff in. And I know in the online office where we can look for our PS coaches, Success Club points, is there a spot where you can see your entire downline?
You can now. Now they've got everybody all the way down the line. They actually just changed it so you can see all instead of just 5 levels. So in your sponsorship drill down, you can change the report to see all and then look at their prior Success Club points.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
How do you organize that? You said your husband does it? Because I mean, the thought of I have 1,300 people in my downline. And the thought of that is
I'm near you. I get it. I know. It's tough. And honestly, that doesn't have to be, you know, something that you do. You know, that's something that I do. That's something that was part of the culture of my team. It doesn't have to be yours.
Right. I was just curious how you organize that.
We pull it once a month. Basically, that's all you have to do, is pull it once a month. We actually make the graphic in Canva, so it's already created. We just have to plug it in. It takes a little bit of time, but I think it doesn't take as long as you might think. Once you've done it once, then you have kind of the template, and just kind of you plug it in, you know. And you know, last time I think I put 6 pictures on, so I mean, it really doesn't take too long.
Oh, well, that's good. Yeah.
I ended up, because I'm not the best detail-oriented person, and like a couple people fell through, and I was like, oh no! So I have a diamond coach on my team who she just doesn't like to, you know, she's like one of those diamonds. She doesn't want to do a team call, but she's like, just give me stuff to do because I want to contribute. And so every month she does it now, and I showed her how to do it on Canva, and it's like such a weight. I just send her a text on the first of the month, and she's like on it.
That's a great idea.
And she'll, and it makes her feel like, you know, like I'm contributing, but I don't have to like get on and talk to a bunch of people, or, and if she has any questions, she just messages coaches if she's like, feels like she's missing someone, or.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
And asks for their, you know, if they could give them their downline. So.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
There you go, Sharon. Take something off your plate.
I know. I'm bad about that. I'm so bad.
I'm really bad, but I think that's a great idea.
It felt really good. I'm bad about it too, because I'm really good. And I have to tell you, like the first banner she did, I was like, that's great. It wasn't like how I would do it, but I was like, it's great. I just had to let it go.
I get that. I had the same thing. I retired my husband, so he's at home with me and helps out, and so he's listening in the next room, so I hope he doesn't get upset. But the first couple ones too, it was like we had to really work together to get it smoothed out like I wanted it.
That's awesome. But I loved what you said about you know, looking at your team and going, God, because I've been doing that lately. I've been doing this a long time in my culture. Yeah, but while you were talking, I realized everybody on my team, including myself, came in for the business exactly how you did. And I built volume because I was old when I started. And that really kind of, I appreciate that because it clarified it for me. Like, I don't know, just see them differently. And not everybody, like I see these teams where they all look alike and they're, you know, on the beach somewhere. My team's not like that.
And I actually kind of purposely didn't talk about any of those teams because I've feel like mine is so different. We're just, I mean, we have people who are super fit and we have people that aren't super fit, but at the heart of it is that they all care. And that was more important to me than anything else.
That's awesome.
What other questions? This is amazing.
I'm glad. I hope it was worth waiting.
Yeah, totally. No, it's so good.
It was. Worth the wait.
I think the easiest thing is to look at what we don't have within our team. And I love how you magnified and you said it's already there. You just have to create it. So same thing, how you go and portray yourself and market yourself on, 3 to 5 things that you're passionate about, that you live through your Facebook every single day, doing the same thing within your team culture page. I loved that because you simplify it and you get them excited about those things like recognition. They look forward to that. But you're not throwing a ton of it at the wall and hopefully some things stick. You're keeping it to 3 to 5. So I think that's absolutely incredible, Heather. The notes I took were absolutely amazing. So I appreciate it a lot.
And one quick question, Heather, you mentioned something about incentives. Did I miss that? I have got my notes here, but how do you incentivize? Do you incentivize or run like your own kind of team cup things?
Yeah,
or
sometimes I'll do mini cup challenges. My team, it's funny, but when there's a team cup, it's like people come out of the woodwork, they rise up, they're so excited. And so for me to keep some of that going, I do run a couple, little mini cups. And honestly, it's not even that I give away much. It's just that it's something to keep them focused. And a lot of times, especially months like where we've got slower months. I mean, we know August is kind of a slow month. I mean, when you've been around a while, the months that get a little slower, those are great times to do that because then you've got them focused on something else instead of focusing on, oh, how slow it is. So yeah, I'll do little things like that. I give away a lot of personal development, like, oh, here, maybe a shirt or something, but nothing all that big, just something to keep them excited. And the best thing is that they group up again. So when they group up again, I feel like they're stronger together in those little teams. So, things like that I think are really, really important. Some of it's done, some of the incentives are done on their own, right? Because every time they're posting in the team page, I got my 3, like that's already their incentive because people comment and they're like, oh, yay, it gets exciting and you get to that person. So
that's cool. I like that. Awesome.
The cards every month too, like that's another little incentive. I mean, so simple.
Heather, I have a question for you too when it comes to incentives, and anyone can answer this question too. I've been thinking a lot about, because like I have coaches that thrive with challenges. I have ones that get so pushed away. They're like, ew, I don't want anything to do with competition. I have some that love recognition. I love some that love gifts. So I was thinking of doing having all my team do the love languages. So I know exactly what pushes them, what thrives on them, or what, gets them really amped up. Have any of you guys ever done that and specified or personalized what incentive or how to give your coaches incentives based on their love language?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I did that with my diamonds. I've done that with all of them because, I really wanted to know what would best make them excited, especially as they move towards bigger ranks and everything else. For me, if having, like my latest 3-star, I gave her a Tiffany necklace, but if she didn't like necklaces, that wouldn't mean anything to her, but I knew she did. So to me, gifts is totally what she loves. Somebody else, it's like, they don't care about that. They'd rather be on the phone with me for, a half an hour or whatever. So yeah, I think that's a great idea. I haven't done it in a bigger scale, but I'd love if you did that to tell me how it goes.
Okay.
Because I think that's a great idea.
I also heard about a team that has a form that they have their diamonds or their PS coaches fill out. That's like, what's your shoe size? What out of these things, what would you pick? Do you like jewelry, bracelets, earrings, or, things like that. So you can kind of have sometimes it's hard because I end up going shopping. Like one of my coaches just hit 8-star and I went to get her something and I got something for myself too. But, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
That would be a good thing to send out in an about me form, when they sign up as a coach.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, by the way, fill this out too. And
Or do you like to read or do you like to listen? Because, sometimes I gift audiobooks. And for a lot of my coaches, they don't have time to read because they got little kids and stuff.
Yeah.
That's a great one too, because most people have done that because they're in a relationship. But I have plenty of coaches that do use that, Vicki, and they absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. So, and you can just do the test online, do that. They don't even have to read the actual book, but you could do the test, and then that way you would know exactly. Marcia, did you have a question? I'm sorry, honey.
No. I was just going to say, on our team, it's really just a funny thing. I started when my first person went diamond, I got a mantra band. It's a really pretty, it says inspire. And I didn't realize it. I bought one for me too, because I figured I'd know something. And the inside of the box writes, it's all about leadership. I didn't know that at the time until I opened it. I was like, oh my God, this is so perfect. So now when anyone on my whole downline, because now my coaches do it, they give the Inspire bracelet for that first diamond. So it's this running thing. We always, when we're together, we take pictures with our wrist, and the whole, but it has become the thing now. People are like, I want the freaking Walter band, It's such a little thing, but they're like, I want the band, because now they've seen it enough. We always wear them when we're together, and
that's culture.
Culture. And you don't even realize you're creating it, right? When you create it. Just
so imagine if you were purposefully doing it. I mean, I think that's what's so powerful.
I'm so excited now. Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
Love it. I love culture.
Me
I want to be part of your guys' team culture.
You want a Tiffany necklace? No.
Yes, I will gladly accept a Tiffany necklace. I'm definitely anyways. I think I'm all of these. I know, right? Yes, please. Love it. Anything else you ladies want to add to any of this?
I was just going to add with the personal development books. Nicole L. Jones, she's in our upline, and she talked about giving personal development books to her team when they hit Success Club. And so anyway, 2 years ago, we never had anyone hitting Success Club, and we were running tons of free groups, and no one was doing any personal development, and we've come a long way. But I started giving away the personal development books, and it just helped people do more personal development in general, and then it also helped them earn Success Club more. So anyway, it worked. It kind of transformed our team, and we started talking more about Success Club, and we started talking more about personal development. And so anyway, I'm a huge fan of that.
Yeah, that's great. That's something, I mean, I always, that's one of my first gifts to give away. And I think sometimes we forget too that when we're starting out, books are kind of expensive sometimes too. So the more we can give them, I think the better, even though we've got the Success tab, and I love that, sometimes, having that physical something, I think, means so much too. So that's great.
Yeah, I was just going to share with you guys, I have a coach that, she falls off and comes back and falls off. It's been going on for 2 years. Well, today she messaged me, and I've sent her books, and I've talked to her, and, to no avail. But I put a post up about, 2 more spots in my challenge group today, and actually 3 inactive, kind of dead coaches popped up, and she was one of them. And she recommended this book. Now, the cover of the book is kind of scary, but, I'm trying to find where it is in here. Where'd it go? Let me see. Hold on, my messages are loading here. I actually got it on Kindle right after she said, because if this changed this girl's life, I'm reading this book. Love yourself like your life depends on it. Has anybody heard of that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the cover of the book is a silhouette of a guy with a gun to his head, which is kind of like, but if she said that book changed her life. And I mean, I've sent her Brene Brown, I've sent her The Compound Effect, all this stuff. She found this on her own, and I was like, okay, I'm getting that book. That turned that girl around. I'm getting that book.
So let us know, how far are you into the book?
Oh, I just got it on Kindle. I haven't started reading it yet.
So let us know what you think, what your thoughts are.
I will. I know it's not one I really want to share because the cover is awful, but I'm like, if it changed this girl, it must be something.
So true. Anything else, ladies? I love how you all chimed in. Shannon, thank you for bringing your brand new 2-week-old baby.
Oh, so sweet.
How old is she now?
Oh, sorry, she just burped.
Aw.
How old is she?
2 weeks today.
Wow.
Is that your first?
My third.
Oh, your third. Okay. Yeah, you look very comfortable.
Yeah, we're doing good.
Oh,
Third girl too, so we're good with girls.
that's awesome.
So adorable. Well, any last things for Heather?
Thank you, Heather.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you guys for letting me share. I'm so glad it was worth waiting 2 weeks. I was like, oh, I got to do something good now.
Gotta give
I
away
know, no
necklaces
pressure.
or something.
Right? Exactly. No, you know, it's so funny. And you said about the handwritten letters. That is one thing. If I get one in the mail, I'm like, I cherish it. It means more to me than anything else. And so I love that you still do that. I have a 5-star diamond coach that she has built an amazing team culture, and she does snail mail every single week. And she, you know, it's like gobs of letters, and she's like, I love doing it. And her team reflects and reacts so well to it. So I think that's an incredible thing that you can still create a culture of what we no longer have in this crazy world we live in, right? This technology world that we live in.
That's true.
So Heather, thank you so much. You were amazing. Loved everything that you brought to the table. I know all of us are going to take this back, you know, and really look at our culture and know that we have a culture. We just have to create a stronger one within our groups. And so thank you so much for your time, and call was amazing.
Thanks, you
Awesome.
guys.
Thanks, Heather.
It's awesome.
Bye all. See y'all next week.
Bye.